Welcome back, guys, to the cinema scale. There are 10 things that makes a movie great, and it's unfortunate when you go into the movie theaters and you see a movie it's not great. The lyrics go, "It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again." We've come a long way from where we began, and no, we haven't. Because where we began as true fans of the Fast and Furious franchise, we're dealing with street racers. That's where we developed our connection with the movie. And it seems that these average street racers, these brawlers, these criminals, as it were, are now international spies that go out on missions for an organization called the Agency. And when you try to do too much, too much happens. Or in this case, not enough happens. So those 10 things that we're going to talk about here, guys, we're going to start with the plot. That's number one. The plot was very, very inconsistent. I do appreciate that they connected movie 5 and movie 8 with this first part of the 10th movie, Fast X. But what I did not enjoy was the gaps. And for me, if you're dealing with overlong story, right? This story started in the early 2000s. I was very young at the time. And you're coming to this climax, there has to be more. So our villain is the son of Reyes from the 5th movie. And one of the things that I find to be cool about that, per se, is that the whole franchise is based on family, honor, code, loyalty. And so because of the fact that the villain is a relative of someone that they faced in the past, I personally think that's cool. However, it's not really closing or giving the audience something to really hold on to. It's not enough. Because we've seen this before, and then people are coming back from the dead, and we thought they were dead, and then they weren't. It can become very juvenile when you're watching a movie for 2.5 hours of that magnitude. So I caught a matinee. I said, you know what, I'm going to just matinees, because if these movies are whompers, I didn't lose much on them. I went to 11 o'clock show. It was pretty empty, and I got to really focus on the film. But guys, the plot is just a very up and down. There are a lot of holes in it. There are a lot of unanswered questions. I mean, and even though it's a first part film, there still should just be a consistent storyline. If this is the 10th movie, this is all you guys can think of. Keep in mind, too, when you go into the theaters, you're going to have to be able to suspend disbelief. What do I mean? Well, I have a background in theater. And what my director would tell me from time to time is when you're watching TV, you have to relinquish or give up the ability of reality to think that something can't not happen. So there is a lot of things in this movie that when you see it, if you decide to go see it, you're going to be like, wow, that is totally unrealistic. And that kills the tangible hold of the film. It definitely makes it difficult for people to hold on to a film that is constantly bombarded with things that you just can't realistically connect with. Number 2, the attraction. That's the premise and the entertainment value. It was entertaining, but so is watching birds in the park. So just because there is entertainment value to it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to spend all my time watching birds in the park fight, especially over a chicken wing. So in this case, I would say entertainment value, yes. A lot of action, a lot of things being blown up. It's just every other scene something's getting blown up, and it just it's draining. It's draining. So you will find yourself enjoying some of the fight scenes and the action, but other than that, you're not going to get much out of this film. So there's that. Number 3, identity and depth. yeah. The identity of the film. Again, we're talking about code, loyalty, honor, family, etc., and the depth of it. There wasn't much. I've seen all of the films, so for this one here, it was just very similar to the eighth one, and very similar to the seventh one, and then these. I don't know. I just feel like they have to go a bit deeper in order to connect with the audience, and there wasn't much of that there. Acting, number 4, guys. Characters and performance. Obviously, you have Vin Diesel in there, Tyrese Gibson. You have Ludacris, and they carried. I think so. I felt like Ludacris didn't do much acting this time around. It was a lot of one-liners, and it was a little bit corny from Ludacris. Tyrese was still himself, which, he's the comedy of the film. You get your comedic laugh out of him. Vin Diesel, he did his part. He always brings what he can to the table, but I just felt like when you're thinking about performance-wise, characters and acting, a huge part of that developing is contingent on the plot. And if the actors don't have anything good or tangible to work with, or something that's going to be that they can build on, it's not going to be that great. Number 5, dialogue, storytelling, and context. The context connects us to movie number 5. It's really just, their past catching up with them. From movie number 5, villain is the son of Reyes from the 5th movie. But the storytelling aspect of it, we're dealing with a psychopath here, but what is his real motive? I mean, is it just a game of vengeance? Is it a game of, it was dramatic. It wasn't, there was nothing miraculous to it. It's not something that's like, hey man, let's go see that movie again because all of the dialogue or there were things that I want to quote from it. No, you're not going to want to do that. I will say I did enjoy the performance of the actor who played Aquaman. He was good. He was good. Jason, he did well. I like the way he portrayed his villain. But, other than that, what can you do when you have a booty script? Cinematography, number 6, visual lighting, setting, and wardrobe. Despite what people think, cinematography is wardrobe as well. I did love Jason's wardrobe in the film. I thought that a lot of his clothes were nice, and the way that they gave his character the type of wardrobe for his character, I thought that was really good. Other than that, it was basic. There wasn't anything that I would say, oh wow, they had good visual language, good lighting. There were some points where it was like, okay, this looks a little bit fake, a little bit, poor CGI here and there. And that leads us into number 7, the pace and the effects. Yikes, man. We're just going down this list. The editing, pace and effect, it was just a movie. It was just, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. There wasn't really, and if not paced properly, what can happen is you'll find yourself bored in the theater, looking at the screen, waiting for the movie to end, and it's just dragging on. And I felt like a lot of the editing, the pacing, and the effects dragged on. Soundtrack, there wasn't much music. I mean, there was one scene in which they kind of give homage to the street race life when they're on the borders, or they're in Brazil. I guess you could say that would be good. I guess I enjoyed that personally. So that was the soundtrack there. The end credit has some great songs in it, but that's not, if you're gonna wait for the song to the end of the movie, then you're literally off screen time. Number 9, directing. Vision and execution. That's my favorite. Let's see here. Director. Who directed this garbage? Let me see. I thought it was my boy, but let me see. Directing. Yeah, it was. Yeah, well, the story was written by Justin Lin, but director. Why is this evading me? Oh, Louis Leterrier, whatever. Louis the 15th, the 18th. It wasn't good. And he's directed some good films like Now You See Me. That's a great one. He's a French director. Transporter 2, that's another one that's really good. And he directed The Incredible Hulk. So I'm not sure as to why for this film he decided to, you know what? Let me scratch that. When you're a director and you contracted, you're with the studio. So it's probably a studio error, but even down to his other works, he's a really good director. Like, I really enjoy his other films. So I'm not sure what Louis was doing. Latrelia, that's a French word. So yeah, Louis. It wasn't a good execution of directing. I think that there was a lot going on in the film. And so directing means that you have a vision and you're going to execute it clearly. And I thought that had to be better. The it factor, one of a kind and transcendent. Oh boy, that's number 10, guys. No, there was no it factor for me. Just remember, the cinema scale exists as your plot, attraction, theme, acting, dialogue. That's 5. Cinematography, editing, soundtrack, directing, and the it factor. And when you come out of a movie theater, you should feel somewhat different by what you saw. There was no difference in what I saw. In fact, I pretty much forgot that I saw the movie. That was a tragedy. But I have to scale it. I have to scale it now. So if I had to look at my cinema scale, and out of all of those 10 things, pick something that is going to give this a point, I would give it a 4 for the acting. Everything else was very, very poor. Now, mind you guys, I don't watch any trailers. I don't read other reviews. I have my own background and my own education and studying theater and performing arts. So I'm aware of what it means to make a good film, and this just wasn't it. So the cinema scale is going to rule this a 1 out of 10. I would not recommend that you see this movie. It is complete and utter. So if you're going to catch it just to kill time, then that's catch a matinee. If you want to catch it on TV and cable when it comes out, then catch it then. We're continuing on this platform. The reason I started this was just to save you guys some money, man. Like, don't waste your money seeing this film. It is not something that you want to spend your weekend on. Other than that, that's my ruling from the cinema scale. 1 out of 10 for Fast X. Guys, you've been fantastic as always. We love bringing you the cinema scale. You guys be easy and peace out.